Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Paul Brown Show. This evening, my guest will be Miss LaRonda Scott. She's the Executive Director of the North Carolina Mothers Against Drunk Driving. How you doing there, Miss Scott?
Hello, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Outstanding. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Tell the audience a little bit about that program.
Well, I like to put it simply that we're helping people and saving lives, but our mission is to stop drunk driving, serve the victims of that crime, but also to prevent underage drinking. And we've been in place since 1980 from a mom who made a commitment to her daughter to prevent other families from experiencing such tragedies.
The Executive Director of the North Carolina Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, or MAD. What inspired you to want to hold that position?
Well, I used to say that I did not have a story because people ask me that a lot. What brings you to MAD and why do you want to do this? And do you have a story? And I used to tell them no, but I do, and we all do. Right now, I am a mom, and I'm blessed to where my family has not been impacted by alcohol-related driving or any drug-impaired in driving. But now, since I've been with the organization a little over 2 years, I carry with me a lot of stories. And I have to say, I'm in awe of the families that we work with, their strength, and they are what encourages me to continue the fight and work hard because I want to prevent not only my family and your family, but all North Carolinians from experiencing the tragedy of impaired driving.
I know you stated that Mothers Against Drunk Drivers started in 1980. Tell us a little bit about what happened.
Candy Lightner, a mom, and she made, I guess you could say, MAD began in her daughter's bedroom because it was following the death of her daughter. She was walking to church, to a carnival with her friend. An impaired driver lost control of the car, ran up on the sidewalk, hit and killed her daughter. And in her bedroom, Candy made a commitment to her daughter that she was going to stop this. You know, she wanted to stop drunk driving, but she also wanted to support victims. And she made that commitment, and from this day, I believe in 2012, for the first time ever, the number of deaths of impaired driving was less than 10,000. And though we've come a long way, I still look at that number being high because each number, not only fatalities, but injuries are connected with a name. And that person is connected to a family, and there's so many people impacted. So I'd say those are our unfortunate beginnings, and we've made had some great success, but we've still got so much to do.
Why should we take advantage of being with our loved ones, telling them that we love them? I mean, because you never know when that time may come.
And that's very true. And we have to have those messages while we are here to enjoy each other. But like you said, we never know, what our future holds. I hate to put it in that way, but when you look at the statistics and know that 1 out of 3 people are going to be affected by an impaired driving crash at some point in their lives, it makes it a reality. The one thing that I like to share, and I even keep in mind with the work that I do, is that this is the one thing that's 100% preventable. I've worked for other nonprofit agencies. I worked for March of Dimes, matter of fact, and we were working to have healthy babies and prevent premature birth. But there's so many different factors that plays a role in the birth of a child, the health of a child while it's in the mother's womb. When it comes to fatalities, injuries sustained due to impaired driving, that's the one thing that we fight that is 100% preventable. That is just a matter of making the right decisions when you choose to drink alcohol.
When we have these incidents of fatality or due to a drunk driver, why should we take this serious? I mean, because this is happening on a daily basis.
Oh, it is. And I'll say on a state level, we had over 10,000 crashes last year. We lost in the state 347 people. We had over 7,000 injuries. But I'll bring that to Mecklenburg County, where, when I went to school here, lived not too far from here. We lost 33 individuals due to impaired driving crashes, and we had over 800 injuries. And we have to pay attention to that and understand, yes, we've had some successes, but our mission, our work is still relevant because we still have people dying on our roads, but also we have individuals that are sustaining life-changing injuries. I went to a sentencing hearing last week of a soldier, and a number of people may have seen his story, but he has been in the service for 22 years. He's been deployed 9 times since 9/11, has returned home to his family, no harm each time he's been deployed. However, in November 2012, he was packing his truck for a fishing trip, and a woman, impaired alcohol and cocaine, lost control of her car, hit him, and pinned him between the two cars. So now you have a gentleman who's been in the service for 22 years, deployed 9 times, to be at home, and he's now a double amputee above the knees and has lost a portion of his hand. So that's why we still have to get the message out. We have to let people know that you need a non-drinking designated driver, because you'll notice we've made a change in our language around that, because we used to say a sober driver. Well, we have some individuals who think that a sober driver is the least drunk person at the end of the night. That's not the case. We need a non-drinking designated driver, because with each drink that you have, you are impaired in some shape, form, or fashion.
If you look around the cities, you see a lot of these clubs that provide this alcohol for these individuals.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do we put some of the blame on these clubs or businesses for providing this alcohol for these individuals, knowing that they're going to get in their vehicle and to drive?
Well, I say it's personal responsibility first on the individual, but I will say also that the employees need training. They need to know what to look for. They need to know when to cut someone off. There should be some policies in place in terms of designated driver policies that would help as well. I will commend ALE. We've got an ALE officer in Rocky Mountain. Forgive me, I can't think of what county that is right now. But he's putting together a mandatory training for all employees that manage bars and restaurants that serve alcohol. And his goal is to help to train them to know what to look for and to know the body types and know how many drinks to serve an individual. And that itself is going to train people, maintain that training, and save lives. We have a family here in Charlotte, the Eastridge family. I don't know if you remember that case, but I believe it was in 2012 that they just received a settlement to where the bar was held liable for what happened to them. And they sustained serious injuries and unfortunately lost an unborn child because an individual had overconsumed. He was impaired. Forgive me, I can't remember what he blew, but hit them head on. They lost a child, and that's something they can never get back. And again, 100% preventable.
On April 21st, I think that's what it is, Power Talk 21. Tell the audience a little bit about that.
Power Talk 21 is our national day to have a conversation with your teen about the dangers of underage drinking. We kicked the campaign off on April 1st because we're having 21 days in support of 21. And I say start having a conversation with your child because we don't want you to have that conversation on the 21st and that be the end of it. Right. I had that conversation. He or she knows what I mean. I don't have to worry anymore. It needs to be an ongoing conversation. The worst thing that a parent or guardian could do is to say that I've got a good kid and they're going to make the right decisions and assume that they're making those right decisions. There are peer pressures out there, and we need to make sure they have all of the correct information. So what Power Talk 21 is we have an opportunity to where parents, guardians can sign up for a virtual Power Parent workshop that we're going to have online, but also our office has Power Parent workshops throughout the state. So if a community organization, if a company wants to bring us in for a lunch and learn, if a church wants to bring us in to where we can speak and train, not train, but provide their congregation with resources to have those conversations, we can do those things. And the exciting thing is it's all free, which is, thankful to our grantors as well as money that we raise in the community through individuals and companies. But we are empowering parents with the resources they need to talk with their youth about the dangers. It's not a parenting class, because we've got some parents out there that do a more dynamic job than I do. But it's resources, knowing how the way in which a person parent, what does research say the effect on my child drinking? Because as we like to let our parents know, they're listening. So what are you saying?
I know you mentioned peer pressure. Why should our youth understand that they don't have to do what their peers are doing?
Well, really, it's taking the statistics and putting a positive swing on them. Normally, we look at the negative and we say 1 out of 8 binge drink. Well, when we go out and talk with our youth, we say that 7 out of 8 do not binge drink. So when they're looking at doing what everyone else is doing what's popular, then if you take a look at and share with them 7 out of 8 don't, then you're really a part of the majority. We have to help them understand that the 21 minimum drinking age is in place because their brain is still developing. And even though they think they're making great decisions for themselves, their ability to reason and make more mature decisions hasn't gotten there yet. And it's normally around age 24, 25 for each individual. They tend to drink more. They don't know when to stop. So if we focus on our young people and drinking and driving, we're only saving about a third of them. But if we focus on the dangers of underage drinking, period, we are able to save more, because they're dying as a result of homicide and suicide related to alcohol use. They're putting themselves at risk of being taken advantage of, molested, assaulted when alcohol is involved. So we want to make sure that we're saving them and understanding the dangers of underage drinking altogether and not just getting behind the wheel.
If an organization would like to get more information about that, how would they go about getting that information from yourself?
If it's in regards to Power Parents,
Correct.
They can go to mad.org/Power of Parents. If they go to mad.org and just look for the North Carolina office and reach out to us, we can make them aware of what's available online, how to get a free parent handbook, or let them know about training opportunities that we have coming available.
Being the executive director, what do you learn going to speak to a lot of these family members who have had to deal with a family member being either injured or killed due to a drunk driver?
That each situation is unique, that there are so many people that are impacted by this. It's not just the victim that was involved in that crash. It's the parents of that victim. It's the nieces and nephews. It's the spouse or